What up, Warriors? This is Matt, back at you again with some sweet tips. So today, I thought would be really awesome is to look at 4 tips for attracting awesomeness into your life. So, just as a primer, you ever notice that one person in the room who isn't like being outrageous, but has this just like inner calm that everyone's feeding off of? You ever notice that? An inner knowing that you just find irresistible and that you want a part of, either in relationship or even just for ourselves. So there are ways of assessing this magnetism, accessing, I should say, and we all have different ways of finding it. But here's some cool tips to get started. So, number 1, enthusiasm. People are magnetized to people who are charismatic, but I don't like the word charismatic because I think sometimes it has a negative connotation to it, but that are filled with zest and enthusiasm. And we, as the listener, get so turned on by the childlike quality that this person usually exhibits when they have enthusiasm. Even we, as the listeners, become moved by the enthusiasm. So part of this is unconscious in that we, as the receiver, get a shot of serotonin, which is the feel-good neurotransmitter. It's released in the brain. That's part of that runner's high. That's part of just those goosebumps that you may get. And actually, enthusiasm comes from the root word entheos, which is Latin for God within. The really cool thing about that is there is a man named Brian Johnson who creates what he calls philosopher's notes, and they're kind of like 6-page PDF cliff notes of the best self-development literature out there, and he's all about bringing your highest self out, as I am. And seriously, check his stuff out, and theos.com is where you're going to be able to check out all of his stuff. And it literally, like I said, means God within. So how cool is that? So I think the best thing now is how can we show up with more embodiment of God, source, nature, universe, whatever you want to call it. Number 2, being a listener of service. So it's not only important to be engaging when we're speaking or presenting, but also when we're listening. I think a lot of times this is the last thing that we want to think about. But when we really listen with affection, without arguing, changing subjects, or thinking about what even to say next, we begin to see into the speaker's soul. And their thoughts become purer and purer as we're listening better and better, and they begin to basically tap into, once again, that God within themselves as the speaker while we're listening. And people are ultimately magnetized towards listeners. Think about the people that really, really stick out to you in life, that you really try to, that you embody their calmness and their groundedness, and those are probably really good listeners. And they basically help people come to their best thinking, which is incredible. So obviously we want to be around people that are going to make us think best, clearest, with the most enthusiasm possible. And it feels awesome as the listener being around self-actualizing people, right? I mean, people that are like being their highest selves. How freaking awesome is that? Cool. Number 3, being within ourselves. This one's kind of a little bit more of an abstract concept, but being within ourselves is the idea of, if we try meditating for even 5 minutes a day, instead of just tracking the breath in and out of the nose, focus on the toes. Just give that a shot and send deep breaths directly into the toes and even into the dorsal part of the foot, so the top of the foot, and sending breath deeply directly into those toes and even feeling the soles on the ground of the feet. Are they cold? Are they warm? And consciously work to send warm energy directly to the soles of those feet. And continue this for a few days, and you'll begin to feel yourself breathing deep, deep, deep into your belly, maybe even into your pelvis. You can start to just feel as if the organs are starting to shift down there from the diaphragm, pushing it down. And this is when you begin to find this very subtle, when you're out of meditation, this very subtle calmness within. There's this sense of I'm acting within myself, and I'm not outside of myself with this boom of energy. It's that this energy is controlled and it's channeled and it's within my being. It's kind of like in the pocket kind of thing in a sense. And this is and when we end up being outside of ourselves is when we say silly things, get raspy throats, and generally just become inauthentic from who we are and what we value. So I don't want to be around that, and unconsciously none of us do. So speaking of your feet, number 4, own your whole body. So this one's a little bit more concrete. So the idea of before starting my yoga practice, my legs were just a vehicle for my upper body. Not even kidding. I basically just kind of moved around day to day, and my legs just kind of flopped around underneath me. And I was completely ungrounded. I was actually very light on my feet because of that. But now, when I began to start connecting to my lower half, I now can work up into handstand because it takes incredible leg and abdominal and core balance to be able to do that. If you so choose, accessing Mula Bandha or Uddiyana Bandha, those two locks within the body, work as a great mediator between the torso and the lower body. And when we can stand firmly on our 2 feet, we are connected as one whole unit. People once again can sense this and are drawn to us. So taking that into account, so how do I own my body? How do I act within my body? How can I be a listener of service, of giving? So it's a service to listen to others. And how can I work with enthusiasm and zest and excitement for everything that I do? Tossing everything in. So hey, that's 4 tips how to attract awesomeness into your life. Thank you so much for listening, warriors, and have an incredible day. Peace.